Most of the product teams rarely know if the work that they are doing aligns with the strategic goals of the company. The other day, I was talking with a customer, and during the conversation, we were talking about how to figure out if there's a strategic alignment between the work that the teams are doing and the strategic goals that the company have. And the reality is that in most of the cases, or for this person, and I've seen it in different companies, it's very difficult to know if the work that the teams are working at this moment is strategic or not. It might be easier, especially if you are starting with a product from scratch. But if you have a relatively old product and you are just doing requests from customers, from sales, from different sources or ideas where we could be doing in the future while you're doing some maintenance, well, in those cases, I can tell you that most likely you're not going to be very strategically aligned because you're just trying to serve or make everybody happy. And it's very difficult to be strategically aligned when you're trying to tackle every single thing that comes to you. Because when you're trying to satisfy everybody, it's a little bit of a spray and pray situation. What you had to do and what you should do, especially if you are a product leader, especially if you are a person that is driving product operations in your company, even if you are a senior product manager, look into your current roadmap and try to figure out. This should be a relatively straightforward exercise. Typically, it's not going to take you more than half an hour if you know your roadmap and if you know your strategic goals. The problem is when you don't know your strategic goals, which is something that unfortunately happens to many companies. But if you know both, what you can do is start drawing them. There's several ways you can do this. You can do it in an Excel format. I'll just put an image so you can see it. Or you can do this also in a KPI tree, basically a hierarchical tree that shows you how there are the dependencies between the work that you're doing and the strategies that you have. So ideally, what you will try to achieve is something like this. You want to make sure that obviously you have a vision as a product, you have several strategies, you have some maintenance work, obviously, and under those strategic goals and that maintenance work, there's going to be the different projects. And those projects probably and hopefully are tied to some KPI that is going to define the success of the implementation of those projects that are linked to the strategic goals that are linked obviously to the vision of the company and the product. The reality is when you look at most of the roadmaps, what you're going to see is that the work that these teams are doing is difficult to link it directly to the strategic goals. Meaning, many of the strategies are not going to have work in the roadmap that is really driving their strategy. If you work as most of the companies, your reality is going to be that you plan a quarter, sometimes even a half a year, and even the beginning of the half of the year, you don't have anything for that strategic goal. You're going to do it in the second half of the year. But if you do it in the second half of the year, you're lucky if you release in the last quarter of the year. Meaning that when you come out to support that strategy, well, the year is pretty much over. So you're pretty much not moving that strategic goal towards the direction that you wanted. And in some cases, this can be okay, but in many cases, this is not going to be acceptable in most of the companies. And I know, yes, there are the people that work in SaaS companies that they're just releasing all the time, but there's many people still that work in more traditional companies that they are delivering in different ways, and they're not necessarily releasing continuously to the product. And even if they release continuously, there is another problem, is that it's not about only that the projects that your R&D team, that your product team is working on are aligned with the strategic goals. It's just not about that, because that's just one piece of the puzzle. You also had to do go-to-market. You had to do promotion. You had to align with the sales teams. You had to make sure that support teams, solution teams, services teams, whatever you call them, they are aligned and they are putting the efforts and making sure that everybody is actually supporting the same strategic goals and the same projects. If everybody, again, is working in different directions, no matter whether product is aligned, no matter whether marketing is aligned in their efforts, the efforts across the different teams, the cross-functional efforts that we love to talk about that actually rarely happen, they're not going to support the strategic goals of the company. So making sure, if you want to be successful, that as a product operations person or as a product leader that is trying to drive proper product operations that will scale your product teams, you really have to start by understanding what is your current situation. The best way of understanding this is looking at what are your goals, where are your roadmap, what are the items that are there, Are they aligned with these strategic goals? And don't stop there. Talk with marketing, talk with sales, understand where the goals are, and are they aligned with those strategic goals that you have for the company? And remember, you can do this every time that you are doing a planning session. You're planning a quarter. Quarterly plans are still very common in most of the companies. If you are planning your quarter, you can then, once you do your plan, or while you are doing your plan, you can see what is supporting your work, what is supporting your strategic goals. If in many cases will happen that the roadmap has maybe 20 to 30% of your work only supporting your strategic goal, you're in a very big problem. Because the reality is that a company that counts, even with a 50 or 60 strategic alignment, is going to be doing way more work to support their strategy and going to move much faster than you are, because you are just trying to tackle too many things and trying to tackle too many random projects that are not going to support your vision, that are not going to support your strategic goals. So if you're serious about setting up a strategic alignment in your company, go check out the link in the description, because I run workshops and I have a program that can help you to set up that strategic alignment in your companies, not only to analyze it, but also to set up the operations process that is really going to drive that success, that product scale in your organization. And this is based on a system that I have used as a product leader in different companies. So if you're a person who has been driving strategic alignment in your company, we'd love to hear how you have been doing it. Please comment below. See you in the next one.